We will continue with our reading from the Sri Ishopanishad, Mantra 15. The translations, the synonyms, and the purport for the verse that we will read were written by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And the Sri Ishopanishad was published by the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust. We will begin by chanting the Sanskrit verse. Hiranmayena patrena satya shapitang mukam tattvang pushan apavrinu satya dharmaya drishtaye. Word for word synonyms. Hiranmayena, by a golden effulgence. Patrena, by a dazzling covering. Satyasya, of the supreme truth. Apihitam, covered. Mukam, the face. Tat, that covering. Tvam, yourself. Pushan, O sustainer. Apavrinu, kindly remove. Satya, pure. Dharmaya, unto the devotee. Drishtaye, for exhibiting. Translation. O my Lord, sustainer of all that lives, your real face is covered by your dazzling effulgence. Kindly remove that covering and exhibit yourself to your pure devotee. Purport. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 14, verse 27, the Lord explains His personal rays, Brahmajyotir, the dazzling effulgence of His personal form, in this way. Brahmano hi pratishtaham Amritasya cha Shashvatasya Chadharmasya Sukhasya Kantikasya cha. Quote, I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. End quote. Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan are three aspects of the same absolute truth. Brahman is the aspect most easily perceived by the beginner. Paramatma, the Supersoul, is realized by those who have further progressed. And Bhagavan realization is the ultimate realization of the absolute truth. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse 7, where Lord Krishna says that He is the ultimate concept of the absolute truth. Patak paratarang nanyat. Therefore, Krishna is the source of the Brahmajyotir as well as the all-pervading Paramatma. Later, in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verse 42, Krishna further explains, Atava bahunaitena kingatena tavarjuna Vishtabhyaham idam kritsnan ekang shena stito jagat. Quote, but what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. End quote. Thus, by His one plenary expansion, the all-pervading Paramatma, the Lord maintains the complete cosmic manifestation, he also maintains all manifestations in the spiritual world. Therefore, in this Shruti mantra of Sri Ishopanishad, the Lord is addressed as Pushan, the ultimate maintainer. The personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is always filled with transcendental bliss, Ananda Mayo Vyasat. When he was present at Vrindavan in India 5,000 years ago, he always remained in transcendental bliss. Even from the beginning of his childhood pastimes, the killings of various demons such as Aga, Baka, Putana, and Pralamba were all but pleasure excursions for him. In this village of Vrindavan, he enjoyed himself with his mother, brother, and friends. And when he played the role of a naughty butter thief, all his associates enjoyed celestial bliss by his stealing. The Lord's fame as a butter thief is not reproachable, for by stealing butter, the Lord gave pleasure to his pure devotees. Everything the Lord did in Vrindavan was for the pleasure of his associates there. The Lord created these pastimes to attract the dry speculators and the acrobats of the so-called Hatha Yoga system who wish to find the absolute truth. Of the childhood play between the Lord and his playmates, the cowherd boys, Shukadeva Goswami says in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 12th chapter, 11th verse, Itang satang brahma sukhanubhutya dashang gatanang paradipatena maya shritatayam darakena sakam vijaru kritapunya punjaha. Quote, the personality of Godhead, who is perceived as the impersonal, blissful Brahman by the Jnanis, who is worshipped as the Supreme Lord by devotees in the mood of servitorship, and who is considered an ordinary human being by mundane people, played with the cowherd boys who had attained their position after accumulating many pious activities. End quote. Thus the Lord is always engaged in transcendental loving activities with his spiritual associates in the various relationships of Shanta, neutrality, Dasha, servitorship, Sakya, friendship, Vatsalya, parental affection, and Madhurya, conjugal love. Since it is said that Lord Krishna never leaves Vrindavan Dham, one may ask how he manages the affairs of the creation. This is answered in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, verses 14 through 18. The Lord pervades the entire material creation by his plenary part known as the Paramatma, or the Supersoul. Although the Lord personally has nothing to do with material creation, maintenance, and destruction, he causes all these things to be done by his plenary expansion, the Paramatma. Every living entity is known as Atma, soul, and the principal Atma, who controls them all, is Paramatma, the Supersoul. This system of God realization is a great science. The materialistic Sankhya yogis can only analyze and meditate on the 24 factors of material creation, for they have very little information of the Purusha, the Lord, and the impersonal transcendentalists are simply bewildered by the glaring effulgence of the Brahma Jyotir. If one wants to see the absolute truth in full, one has to penetrate beyond the 24 material elements and the glaring effulgence as well. Sri Ishopanishad points toward this direction, praying for the removal of the Hiranyamaya Patra, the dazzling covering of the Lord. Unless this covering is removed so one can perceive the real face of the personality of Godhead, factual realization of the absolute truth can never be achieved. The Paramatma feature of the personality of Godhead is one of three plenary expansions, or Vishnu Tattvas, collectively known as the Purusha avatars. One of these Vishnu Tattvas, who is within the universe, is known as Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. He is the Vishnu among the three principal deities, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, and he is the all-pervading Paramatma in each and every individual living entity. The second Vishnu Tattva within the universe is Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, the collective supersoul of all living entities. Beyond these two is Karunodakshayi Vishnu, who lies in the causal ocean. He is the creator of all universes. The yoga system teaches the serious student to meet the Vishnu Tattvas after going beyond the 24 material elements of the cosmic creation. The culture of empiric philosophy helps one realize the impersonal Brahmajyotir, which is the glaring effulgence of the transcendental body of Lord Sri Krishna. That the Brahmajyotir is Krishna's effulgence is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 14, verse 27, as well as the Brahma Samhita, chapter 5, verse 40. Yasha Prabha Prabhavato Jagadananda Koti Kotishvashesha Vasudadi Vibhuti Binam Tad Brahma Nishkalamanantamashesha Bhutam Govindam Adi Purusham Tamahang Bhajami. Quote, in the millions and millions of universes, there are innumerable planets, and each and every one of them is different from the others by its cosmic constitution. All of these planets are situated in a corner of the Brahmajyotir. The Brahmajyotir is but the personal rays of the personality, supreme personality of Godhead, Govinda, whom I worship. End quote. This mantra from the Brahma Samhita is spoken from the platform of factual realization of the absolute truth, and the Shruti mantra of Sri Ishopanishad under discussion confirms this mantra as a process of realization. The Ishopanishad mantra is a simple prayer to the Lord to remove the Brahmajyotir so that one can see his real face. The Brahmajyotir effulgence is described in detail in several mantras of the Mundaka Upanishad 2.2.10-12. Hiranmaye pare koshe virajang kramanishkalam touch chubrang jyotishang jyotis tadyad atma vido vidu natatra suryo vati nachandra tarakam vima vidyuto matikuto yam agni tam eva bantam anubhati sarvam tasya vasa sarvam idang vivati Brahmaividam amritam purastad brahma paschad brahma dakshinatas Tarena Adash Chordvam Cha Prasritang Pramai Vedang Vishvang Idang Arishtam. Quote, in the spiritual realm, beyond the material covering, is the unlimited Brahman effulgence, which is free from material contamination. That effulgent white light is understood by transcendentalists to be the light of all lights. In that realm there is no need of sunshine, moonshine, fire, or electricity for illumination. Indeed, whatever illumination appears in the material world is only a reflection of that supreme illumination. That Brahman is in front and in back, in the north, south, east, and west, and also overhead and below. In other words, that supreme Brahman effulgence spreads throughout both the material and the spiritual skies. End quote. Perfect knowledge means knowing Krishna as the root of this Brahman effulgence. This knowledge can be gained from such scriptures as Srimad Bhagavatam, which perfectly elaborates the science of Krishna. And the Srimad Bhagavatam, the author, Srila Vyasadeva, has established that one will describe the supreme truth as Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagavan, according to one's realization of him. Srila Vyasadeva never states that the supreme truth is a jiva, an ordinary living entity. The living entity should never be considered the all-powerful supreme truth. If he were the supreme, he would not need to pray to the Lord to remove his dazzling cover so that the living entity could see his real face. The conclusion is that one who has no knowledge of the potencies of the supreme truth will realize the impersonal Brahman. The conclusion is that one who has no knowledge of the potencies of the supreme truth will realize the impersonal Brahman. Similarly, when one realizes the material potencies of the Lord but has little or no information of the spiritual potencies, he attains Paramatma realization. Thus both Paramatma and Brahman realization of the absolute truth are partial realizations. However, when one realizes the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, in full potency, after the removal of the Hiranyamaya Patra, one realizes Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Lord Sri Krishna, who is known as Vasudeva, is everything, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. He is Bhagavan, the root, and Brahman and Paramatma are his branches. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verses 46 and 47, there is a comparative analysis of the three types of transcendentalists: the worshippers of the impersonal Brahman, Jnanis, the worshippers of the Paramatma feature, Yogis, and the devotees of Lord Krishna, the Bhaktas. It is stated there that the Jnanis who have cultivated Vedic knowledge are better than the ordinary fruitive workers, that the Yogis are still greater than the Jnanis, and that among the Yogis, those who constantly serve the Lord with all their energy are the topmost. In summary, a philosopher is better than a laboring man. A mystic is superior to a philosopher, and of all the mystic yogis, he who follows bhakti yoga, constantly engaging in the service of the Lord, is the highest. Sri Ishopanishad directs us toward this perfection. So this is the reading of Mantra 15 in the purport of the Sri Ishopanishad. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.